Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. So, new archetype, Vanquish Souls, vs, versus, you know how it goes with like the lore, etc. behind it. But, I'm honest, when I first saw the cards I was like, ooh, these don't really seem too good. But then I was playtesting them and I actually realized that, I was wrong. These are not broken, no, far from. But the archetype can do some cute stuff. They have like a Heat Soul, a Stratos once per turn, a Stratos for spells and traps, and they have a Link 1. And that's already a tell that maybe in the future, because they are lacking some cards, but maybe with another wave of support, this actually might become some, meta potential. Depends, right? But again, access to a Link 1 is quite powerful. So what's the gimmick of the deck? The gimmick, I guess, is to have like higher level monsters that can special summon themselves by bouncing back the low levels, for example. The level 7 one, the dark one, is basically a Heat Soul when you reveal like a dark, so basically itself, or their Stratos for spells. They have the fire one, the fire Stratos warrior, which, it's a Stratos, is their monster searcher. Plus, and that's this one, Raisin, that in the same column you need to reveal a fire and a dark from your hand, so an attribute to like war, to pop a monster in the same column. So that's cute, right? That's their gimmick. How do you get the monsters on field during your opponent's turn? Well, that's where the Link 1 comes into play. The Link 1 is fantastic. It either gets something back from the graveyard, so again a potential attribute you might need, Earth, Dark, or whatever, or it gets, like a VR monster, or a VS. VS monster from your hand to the board, and that could potentially trigger your Stratos for spells or Stratos for monsters, or whatever, right? So that's the gimmick, so that's really cool. Plus, the middle monster here, it's their highest level. I think it's level 8. It's basically I guess a Dark Arm Dragon. It's very similar or very easy. This one to get on field, just bounce something back to the hand. What is it? A non-dragon type, because it's a dragon type. To get it on field, and you need to reveal the 3 different attributes. So what is it? Fire, Dark, and Earth. Again, the other like VS monsters. To pop a card on field, and that's once per turn, both players' turns, by the way. So again, that's quite powerful. But that's the gimmick with the archetype, is that you want to keep the monsters, the different archetype, or attributes, I mean, in your hand as long as possible. So as you saw in the deck profile, I started off running the... they have 2 traps. They have like a big compulse and an Infernity Barrier, which is not good, because it only negates cards at targets. So I wouldn't recommend it. Plus, the big compulse, I was running it, but like in most situations it felt really awkward, like you bouncing back multiple monsters. That's cool, but you need to, commit those attributes to the field, those, different names from, your VS monsters. And I found, and their effects are negated, by the way, when they're summoned, and I found out that I don't really like it that much. I'd rather keep them in hand, for the potential reveals, for a draw, for maybe a banish, for, their boss. And it just, makes it so that you have more space in your main deck to maximize on the spells. I maximize both of them, so the Monster Reborn, or, the one that gets something back from the graveyard, that's Continue, the Monster Reborn, or their Book of Moon. Like, their Book of Moon is nuts. It's a nutty card. It's, Book of Moon, but it becomes a bigger Book of Moon depending on the different names of VS monsters you have on field. So here I have like, what is it, 3? The Link 1 doesn't count. But that means that it becomes a Book of Moon for 3 monsters from your opponent, and that's disgusting. That's really disgusting. And the fact that your Stratos for spells can search it, the dark one, again, it's quite nutty. Plus, I believe, I can't remember which one, I believe it's your Stratos for dark, your dark spell searcher, that also has the capability to, what is it, bounce back a monster on field by revealing, I can't remember the 2 correct attributes. I believe it's dark itself. And is it fire? I'm not so sure. But to bounce back the monster with the lowest attack on field, and that includes your own. So what you can do is like bounce back your own Stratos, and normal summon it again, or use the link to special summon it from the hand, and snowball from there. So like on first sight, again, I'm honest, the deck seemed like really weak, super weak. But when you're actually playtesting, and again very similar to like Salamangreat with Heat Soul, getting that +1 during both players' turns, it can actually snowball really fast. Plus, the fact that their Spell Searcher can search their big Book of Moon, which again is fantastic against most meta decks, again it's disgusting. And they have their Stratos for monsters, it's searchable by multiple ways, Rota and the Infernal One Night equip right, and, you know, like normal summon your Stratos, surge the monster, and then go for the Link one, special summon the Spell Searcher, etc. So you're snowballing really, really fast. And the fact that, you know, they're basically all quick effects, you can use them during your opponent's turn as well. So again, quite nice. This one, honestly, I shouldn't have won. You'll see why, but this is so cool. What is it? I think I'm left with like 9 cards in a deck in a couple of moments. And, you know, use the quick play spell, was able to search it. And that's the thing, right? Quick play to dodge the imperm or a failure or something like that. So 3 cards are banished, and now what is it? I can't remember how many cards were banished from the deck. I needed that imperm to negate the Kashtira, what is it, you know, the big one, the Macrocosmos one. I actually overlooked that I have no warriors left in the main deck, but that Seki Continue top deck was nice, and that's why Zeus is there, or, you know, a small Zodiac package is there, you know, to rank up for Zeus, and this is my duel. The extra deck, you might have seen, I haven't talked about it, that it might seem strange. I started off, as you saw in the replays, or you'll see in the replays, with Dogmatica and like Ecclesia and you know, the spell. What is it? What is the name? You know which one I mean. Send something from your extra deck to the grave to search, right? It's back at 3, but it's kind of cloggy. I dropped it eventually for, what is it, Triple Prosperity and what else? Maybe a Ghost Bell? Alright, that's something else, is that you kind of are super dependent on the attributes. So I'm not so sure if I really want to dedicate other hand traps, what is it, Fire, Earth, and Dark. So that's like Ash. Ash is fantastic simply because it's a fire. You have Bell, it's a one-off, maybe more, depends. But you know, it kind of feels awkward that you're running other monsters, other hand traps that are not your preferred attributes. I guess maybe something like Nibiru is of course super strong because it's Nib, but and that's where, you know, you could look at the OCG where you could say they're lucky. Like, the deck is obviously much more powerful in the OCG simply because they have Maxi. Maxi is an Earth, and again, that kinda is superb because of, you know, their boss, etc. Or some of them, like the good effects, include reveal an Earth type, or, you know, an Earth attribute from your hand. And that's kinda crappy. So like from testing, it sometimes feels a bit awkward, but I kinda miss like a field spell. And maybe like a good rank 4 exceed, because they have a couple of, like, first I added in the Tiger King, you know, the one for Fire Fist, but it needs Beast Warriors, and there's only one Beast Warrior, so again, that doesn't make sense. But, you know, Search Tanky, but there again, there is just one Beast Warrior. That's the one that the Earth one, special summon it from the hand, basically a free special summon. It kind of reminds me of Crusadia a bit. Like, the whole deck, it actually reminds me of like a combination between Fur Hire and Ancient Guardians, Guardians. So it's okay, it's not top tier material yet, but there is potential. Again, they have a Heat Soul, which is super easy to get on field. The archetype has a built-in way to, you know, dodge some hand traps like Imperm Veiler, for example, stuff that targets, or needs that target to be face up on the field. So again, that's really cool. A big boss monster that's super easy to get on field, but it kind of needs those 3 different attributes in hand to pop something. So, like, imagine them getting, let's say, a field spell. You know, Alistair field spell, Invocation field spell that searches any, like let's say one of the attributes are a non-fire that you maybe cannot search their Stratos, you know. Like that, to search one of the attributes, that's, or let's say an attribute that you don't have in your hand or something, or that you don't have on the field. Imagine. I'm going to jinx that. Ooh, imagine. Like a field spell and maybe a good rank 4 exceed. To get, you know, stuff in the graveyard or detach to get maybe another search or, you know, something that advances your game state. But again, most importantly, that puts the name in the graveyard in order to get it back from the graveyard with your Link 1. I mean, that's, you know, something that I just found from playtesting, right? That's just my experience. But I kind of kept it pure eventually. I think it's just far better. I'm not so sure if there is any potential combinations of decks. I mean, you could go for Tikaboo in the main deck. There can only be one, as you saw in like the side deck. Not really a side deck, but because of the different types you main deck. You could, but I mean, why bother for the video, right? But you can definitely, you know, main deck that. But I mean, it is what it is. This is the current list. 1 Bell. I mean, the extra deck you could definitely, you know, slap in the standard links, the standard rank 4 exceeds. It's up to you. But, I mean, well, maybe want to try out like a small Ecclesia package, maybe for Maximus. That's the thing, right? Maximus to send like Herald to search the Illusion of Chaos, Magician Souls, which is a dark. So again, that kind of easily gets like an extra attribute on your, at least in your hand, right? So that was a thought process behind it. But again, all suggestions are definitely welcome. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Become signing out. Peace.